Now this time we don't have all unit fractions, so we need to think about some other things. Now, can we put these in descending order? Well, let's think about whether they're closer to 0, half and 1. And even though you don't need to draw a number line, I'm going to put one here to help you visualise. So think of that as 0 and that as 1. If we look at half, that's going to be in the middle. Our next fraction is 1/10. Now the thing is, it's going to be split into 10 equal pieces. So there's going to be a lot of them, therefore they're going to be very small. And we've only got one of them. So that's going to be closer to 0 than any of the other benchmarks. So let's put that there. Now 4/5, we've actually got 4 out of our 5 parts. So our denominator is 5, but we've got 4 of them. So that's nearly 5. It's nearly a whole. So that's near 1. So we've used 0, half and 1 to put these in order by thinking of each fraction and whether it's closer to 1, closer to half, or closer to 0. Now just remember to check the question because this one says descending order, and that means they need to go from largest to smallest. So we would start at 1 and go backwards. So the one closest to 1 is 4/5, and then a half, and the smallest fraction, which is closer to 0, is 1/10. Now these are going to be in ascending order, so smallest to largest. We've got one unit fraction, but let's hide that for the minute because I want to think about what we can see about the other ones. Now we've got the same denominator, and that's great because we can compare the numerator. So they've got 7s. That one's got 6 and the other has 5. So the very first thing we can do is just switch the order because 5's smaller than 6. Now what we need to do is think of the whole 3 fractions. Okay, let's pick 6/7, and I chose that because 6 is very close to 7, so it's nearly all of the parts. So that means if it's nearly all of the parts, and you can picture that, it's closer to 1. 5/7 is only one less part than 6/7, so it's going to be a bit smaller because it's one part less. So by picking 6/7, I gave myself a starting point, and that helped me think about 5/7 because it's a bit smaller. And now the last fraction has tenths. There's lots of small parts, and we only have 1, so that's going to be really small. And that means that one's going to be closer to 0. So let's put that down that end. And then now in ascending order, we've got 1/10, which is closer to 0. Then we've got 5/7 and 6/7, which are closer to 1. So we're thinking about each fraction and comparing it to those benchmarks, and that helps us put them in order.